You are mostly welcome to today's broadcast on Science of Dominion TV, which post-pandemic and your finance. Post-pandemic deemed unnecessary to digress a bit on our topic. It's not a matter of digress anyway, it's just to strengthen our topic and to prepare the ground and to let us realize some of factors that may jeopardize our efforts of recovery or surviving or triumph in post-pandemic. So, in continuation of what we started in the last broadcast, today's topic talks about the superiority of race is not about color, but the function of self-opinion. The superiority of race has nothing to do with the color of your skin, with the texture of the hair, and with the facial feature, but it is the function of self-opinion. It's not the color of your skin that determines your superiority or your inferiority. It's not the texture of your hair that determines your superiority or inferiority or lack of either. And it's not the facial, your facial feature that tells or that dictates or determines your superiority or inferiority. It's just the function of self-opinion. Whether you say somebody is inferior, a particular race is inferior, a particular race is superior, or a particular race does not exist, though they live, it's just about self-opinion. Why do we say it's all about the function of self-opinion? Well, let us look into four opinionistic that we have. We have four types of opinionistic or opinionistic. We have four types of opinionistic. What are they? Number one, we have the optimistic. We have the optimistic, the people that think too high of themselves. The optimistic only think too high, too much about themselves. They think beyond who they are. They see themselves more than what they actually are. They feel they have more than what they actually have. And they think they are more than who they actually are. Those are the optimistic. Then we have the pessimistic. We have the pessimistic. Who are the pessimistic? The pessimistic are the people that think too low about themselves. They think too low about themselves. They don't realize who they are. They don't realize what they have. They don't realize their importance. So they think too low about themselves. Their assessment is only too low about themselves. They see themselves as low, second class, cannot achieve or not achieving, not attaining, not important. Those are pessimistic. Where we have in between pessimistic and optimistic, we have the misoptic, what I call misoptic. Who are the misoptic? The misoptic, they are the people that don't know where they belong. The optimistic don't actually know who they are and they don't know where they belong. The optimistic are the people who don't know who they are and they don't know where they belong. Those are the misoptic, misoptic, misoptic. And number four, we have the realistic. We have the realistic. Who are the realistic? The realistic are the people that always sincere about themselves. They are very sincere about their assessment, about what they are, what they don't have, what they can do, what they cannot do. Those are the realistic. Now, in this case, we have been hearing of particular race thinking they are superior to other race. We have seen how particular race in today's world is being tagged as inferior. As a matter of fact, some races are being tagged as non-exist, though they exist, but they are being tagged and they are being seen as non-exist, non-existent, not in existence. Why? What are the reasons, various reasons for this? The various reasons is very simple. If a race, a particular race, see themselves as inferior, where do they get that idea from? Where did they get that opinion from? How do they conceive that opinion? What made them to see and accept themselves in that opinion of being misoptic about themselves? They don't know who they are, they don't know what they have. Why? It's very simple. You know what? When the optimistic race or the race that are very optimistic about themselves, the race that are optimistic about themselves, not the realistic now, the race that are optimistic about themselves, when they see other race who has not defined their own opinion or who has no definition about themselves, they don't know where they belong. Or when they see race that misoptic, when they see such a race, the next thing they will do is that they will never assess or have an opinion of such a race about themselves, and they will not have it equal to themselves. What will they do? They will quickly place them and define them, lower themselves. So the misoptic race that feel they are inferior and they feel they feel or their opinion about themselves is misoptic. They don't know who they are. Or the pessimistic. They think less about themselves. They get that idea from the, the optimistic one. They get that the idea, they get the definition from the opinion. They buy into the opinion of the optimistic about themselves. The optimistic saw them as having not given a definition to themselves, or they gave definition to themselves before, but they decided to say another opinion, which is their own opinion, to them. They sell the opinion into their own mind. So as a result, they lose their self-identity. They lose their self-opinion about themselves. Those are the people, that's how the so-called inferior race came about the inferiority complex. Came about the inferiority complex. So as a result, the class, the race that has been seen, that have been tagged as superior, they said the idea, they see themselves as superior because they are very optimistic about themselves. Therefore, they sold the idea to every other race that look at us, we are the superior people. And when they said that to themselves, they begin to think as being superior, they begin to behave as being superior, and they begin to act and talk as being superior. Why the people that the idea have been sold onto them, that look, was said this opinion you have about yourself is not true, it's not real, it's not real. Let's tell you who you are. You are inferior. You are inferior. And because of that, the inferior, these race that are being sold, the idea is being sold onto them that they are inferior. They begin to think, they accepted it. They accepted the opinion of the optimistic, the superior, because they accepted the opinion being sold onto them, idea being sold onto their mind, and they accepted it, and they begin to think as being inferior. They begin to think less of that by themselves. They begin to see themselves lower than the other race. So as a result, When you hear the word Caucasian today, what comes to mind? When you hear the word Mongolian, what comes to mind? When you hear the word Negroid, what comes to mind? Number one, when you hear the word, the statement, let me start from the Negroid. Negroid, what comes to mind today? What comes to people's mind? The first thing that comes to mind when you hear the word Negroid, the first thing that comes to mind, some red alerts here and there started thrown, and the something ring on the mind of people. Number one, slavery, inferior, poverty, vulnerability, and dependence. When you hear the word Negro, what comes to mind of people are simple: slavery, inferior, poverty, vulnerability, and dependence. That's what comes to people's mind. But the question is, are Negroids actually slaves? Are Negroids actually inferior? Are Negroids actually poor? Are Negroids actually vulnerable? Are Negroids actually dependent race? The answer is capital no, and I prove that to you. Number two, when you hear the word Caucasian or Caucasoid, what comes to mind? When you hear the word Caucasian or Caucasian, what comes to mind? Number one, master. Number two, superior. Number three, wealth. Number four, dominion and power. Number five, influence. Number six, helper. Hmm. But the truth of the matter is, are Caucasian actually superior and master? And the only wealthy nations and the only race that's had dominion and power and influence and helper over every other race? The answer is actually not so. And I prove that to you. When you hear the word Mongolian or the Mongolian, what comes to mind? When you hear the word the Mongolian or Mongoloid, what comes to mind? Number one, authority. What do I mean by authority? You see that they are the authority over what they produce, what they have, that they have authority over this in this sector. You see them as an authority in certain sector of economy. You see them as an authority in certain sector. The next thing that comes to mind, industrial or industrials. When you hear the word Mongolian, you think of people that are industrials. Then you see the next thing that comes to mind, producers, producers, manufacturers, suppliers, and wealth. These are the things that comes to mind when you hear the word Mongolia or Mongolia. But let's think about it. Let's listen together. When you talk about somebody or a race being an authority in certain sector, for instance, in industry, in production, when you call a race being has an authority in certain, the question you need to ask yourself, are those races self-dependent in what they produce? If the answer is no, if they have to depend on other race, either for raw material or for consumption of what they produce, then they are not authority in that way, in any sector. They are not actually authority in that. Then, When you talk about the Caucasian and you say these are master, boss, dominion, influence, is it actually so? The question you need to ask, whatever wealth, power, influence that they acquire, how do they acquire that wealth? How do they get it? Where do they get it from? If the wealth can be is traceable to the other race, the so-called inferior race, then they are not actually master or boss on the other race. What are you trying to prove? We are not here to prove. We want everybody to become a realistic. We want to sell an idea to every race that let every race be realistic. Let a race that is optimistic be realistic. Let a race that is pessimistic be realistic. Let a race that's misoptic be realistic. So that's why we're here today. Let us be realistic. Let us have a true and fair assessment about ourselves and about other races. Let's be realistic. How do we be realistic? Let's acknowledge of the resources, of the value, of the contribution of other race to our own development, to our own survival, to our own existence. Let's appreciate that. Let's acknowledge it and let's appreciate that. And let us be realistic about it. Let any developed nation today look at their economy. No matter how strong their economy is, let's all try to carry out a review, an assessment of who are the major contributors to that economy. Who are the major players? In what categories to that economy? Let's think about it. Whether in terms of health, look at any nation, developed nation today. Think about their hospital, their health. Will you not see people, the so-called Negroid, as major players, major role players in their health sector? Think about technology of the so-called developed nations, the superior. Think about technology. Will you not be able to pick out the so-called Negro as major participants and players and contributors? Think about that. Think about other services. In terms of achievements, will you not be able to point out or fish out or list out certain Negroes that have played major role in those economies, in those nations? Let's think about it. Not only that, the natural resources that we depend on as source of materials, raw materials, for our consumption in time of energy, electricity. Let's think about the oil and other natural resources, gold, mineral resources, and stuff, and so on and so forth like that. No matter how wealthy, how rich any developed nation, the so-called superior, are in those areas, you'll be able to trace their source of acquirement to the race, other races like Negroes and Mongols. If that be the case, why don't we acknowledge and have a true assessment and let every race become realistic and not just be optimistic for being optimistic sake? Let's have a realistic and let the Negroid stop being pessimistic and be optimistic, whichever way. Let the Negro stop being pessimistic and stop being optimistic. Let the Negro also have a realistic, let them become a realistic, have a true an assessment of ourselves. People sold idea to our mind, to the race called Negro. That this is who you are. And we accepted it and begin to think like that, and begin to behave like that, and begin to run like that. No, that has to be changed. How do you change it? You change it by having that becoming a realistic, an opinionistic that is realistic in the assessment of themselves. Appreciate what you have. Every race is rich in one thing or the other. God distributes the natural resources equally, and the manpower, the intellect equally. It's a matter of what you call ourselves, and how do we think, and how do you see ourselves? It's about that. So please, I want to appeal to my fellow Negro. Protest is not the answer to what is going on. Protest is not the answer, it's not the solution to the marginalization, to the persecution, to the victimization. Protest is not the answer. The answer is, let we all Negroes become realistic in our opinionistic. Let's appreciate what we have. Let's appreciate and celebrate who we are. And let's begin to think and begin to behave according to who we are and what we have. Let's stop looking down on ourselves. Let us stop addressing ourselves by the opinion that's being sold unto us by other races. Let us stop it. Let us stop it. Until we know who you are, we know who we are, and we defend and give ourselves the definition and tell the whole world about our opinion of ourselves, the world will not address us any better. Other race will not address you any better. That's the truth of the matter. It's not the protest, the riot that will make other race to stop or to have a change of opinion about who we are. No. The change of opinion has to start with us. The change of opinion has to start with us. How? Let us move from our platform of the optimistic, the opinionistic, of being pessimistic or misoptic. Let's change and become realistic. Realistic in the sense, appreciate your color. Appreciate your color. Let every Negro appreciate their color. When the Negroes stop going under machine to change their color, other race will celebrate you. Why would the Negro be going under machine to change their color? For what? Appreciate your color. The Negro, appreciate your hair, the texture of your hair. Appreciate the texture of your hair, Negro. If you don't appreciate the texture of your hair, who will appreciate you, will celebrate for you. Negro, stop trying to go and make your hair to look like the hair that's not your natural hair, God-given hair. It's wrong. How many times have you seen the Caucasian try to make their hair or remove their hair and be behind the hair of the Negro? How many times have you seen the Caucasian or the Mongolian try to change the color of their skin to the color of the Negro? How many times have you seen it? It has never happened. But when the Negroes be putting themselves under machine, changing the color of their skin to the color of the Caucasian or the Mongolian, why will they not have an opinion that you are inferior? Let the Negro stop, change. Let us begin be misoptic about our facial feature. Appreciate your feature, your facial feature. Appreciate it. If you don't appreciate your facial feature, other race will not appreciate it. So let the Negroes stop. Go for surgery. All those go try to go for surgical operation and change our facial feature to look like the facial feature of the Mongolian, of the Caucasian. Then they will not stop having a less assessment or a wrong opinion about you, about us. Why will the Negro be going around to begin to have having surgical operation in order to change plastic surgery, this surgery, so as to change the look, to look like the Mongolian, to look like the Negro, to look like the Caucasian? If the Negro does not change that attitude, the other race will not have another opinion or better opinion about you. Rioting here and there that makes other race to change. Rather, race and riot and protest. We rather let's say, okay, we confirm that's who they are. Let every Negro begin to become a realistic is saying that every Negro, they are a race. Negroes are a race that are well blessed with geographical location full of natural resources, talented people, great people, highly skilled people, hardworking people, nice looking people with great color that can survive under any atmospheric condition. Take your color, your skin to anywhere. Your skin can survive under any atmospheric condition. Can adapt, can adjust. So let's celebrate who we are. Let's appreciate who we are. Let's accept ourselves. Let's stop denying our color. Let us stop denying our skin. Let us stop denying our facial look. Let us stop denying our ear texture. Let's celebrate it. Like I normally say, I only like to make my references to the Word of God. We are God who says who we are. God does not make mistake by giving us this color of the skin. God does not make mistake by the hair texture he has given us. God does not make mistake by our facial feature. So why must we be going around and try to change to become other? So if you are trying to become other race, look like other race, why would the other race not think that we're inferior? Every leader in the Negro race, I am going to talk to every leader in my next episode. Every leader, everyone that has opportunity. And not only that, I'm going to talk to every populace in my next episode. Especially this protest is nothing. If our care is not taken, the so-called cloud that is going on, if we follow the trend to our disadvantage, we so far ourselves to actually become a slave that they call us, which we are not slaves anyway. So, ladies and gentlemen, for the society, for other race to accept us in the society as superior or equal to them, no longer not like inferior. It has to start from us. What we accept, what we see, what we call ourselves is what they call us. But and celebrate who God has made us to be. Woo! So every Negro become realistic. So it's not about protest, it's not about fighting and loving other race, victimizing, marginalizing, and like that. Stop it. You are not better than the so-called Negro. In fact, tomorrow on Sunday service, I'm going to tell you what is actual. I believe our mentality will change. Solomon Bamidele is my name. Until I come your way tomorrow, please, as you go to my YouTube, keep subscribe. Go to my YouTube and subscribe, Pastor Solomon Bamidele. When you subscribe, I'm trying to press the bell. When you press the bell, it will only alert you. So, Go around, go forth, and think and celebrate and appreciate